Hi, second graders. We are on to our next story in the Journeys book. We skipped ahead a little bit for this week, so you're going to be looking for the story that's called The Mysterious Tadpole, and it is on page 350, which will look like this. So get to that page, okay? A little bit about the author. His name is Stephen Kellogg, and he's the one that actually wrote and illustrated this book. So not only did he write it, but he also drew the pictures, okay? And we're focusing on the different aspects of a story this week. So two big ones that you can see up here on my whiteboard. They're also going to be a part of your story map assignment. We are going to be looking for what is the problem in the story, okay? And then the solution, which means how did they solve that problem? I also want you to think about the setting of the story. Where does it take place? Might be more than one place, but what are the main places that the story takes place? The setting. And then who are the characters? Okay, the main characters in the story. The Mysterious Tadpole. All right, first page. Greetings, nephew. Make sure you're following along with your finger. Cried Lewis's Uncle McAllister. I've brought a wee bit of Scotland for your birthday. Thanks, said Lewis. Look, Mom and Dad, it's a tadpole. Lewis named him Alphonse and promised to take very good care of him. Have you ever seen a tadpole before? Maybe in a pond or somewhere, right? They're pretty little at first, and they're kind of just a little circle with a little tail. And that is what his uncle brought him for his birthday. And he named him Alphonse. Lewis took Alphonse to school for show and tell. Class, here we have a splendid example of a tadpole, exclaimed Miss Shelbert. Let's ask Lewis to bring it back every week so we can watch it become a frog. Miss Shelbert was amazed to see how quickly Alphonse grew. Maybe it's because he only eats cheeseburgers, said Lewis. When Alphonse became too big for his jar, Lewis moved him to the kitchen sink. He's the perfect pet, said Lewis. And what do tadpoles grow into? Do you know? Look at the picture, you might get a hint, right? They grow into a frog. But Lewis's tadpole is a little unusual, right? He's growing really fast. And what was the reason that Lewis said that was happening? You remember? That he was eating only cheeseburgers, right? Might give you a clue that this story is fiction. It is fake. It is a fantasy story, actually. All right, next page here. Lewis and Alphonse loved to play games. Be careful, Lewis, said his mother. The living room is not a soccer field. Something is going to get broken. And she was right. That same day, the soccer ball slammed into Aunt Tabitha's antique lamp. This tadpole is out of control, said Lewis's mother. Something must be done. It won't happen again, promised Lewis. I'll take Alphonse to obedience school. Look how big he is already, right? Do tadpoles normally grow that large? All right, we're going to stop and think of the question at the bottom. It says, is Alphonse going to be a perfect pet? How can you tell? So I want you to think about that. Do you think he's going to be a perfect pet or no? All right, next page here. The only animals at obedience school were dogs. Some of their owners stared at Alphonse suspiciously. Pretend you're a dog, whispered Lewis. Alphonse tried to bark, but it sounded like a burp. So you know when you take your dogs for training, right? That's where he took Alphonse. But all the other pets are dogs. And he's got a big tadpole. All right, next page. 356 is where we're at. Hold on a minute, said the trainer. What kind of dog is this? He's a hairless spotted water spaniel from Scotland, explained Lewis. Alphonse quickly learned to sit, stay, and retrieve. He graduated at the top of his class. My parents will be very pleased, said Lewis. He's even on the podium with a little medal, first place. Stop and think. Does the author's description of Alphonse seem funny? Why or why not? Right? Think about the words that they are using to describe him and even the way that he's drawn in the pictures, trying to make him a little funny. All right, look where he is now. He's even getting bigger. He's not going to fit in the sink anymore. Where is he? In the bathtub. But Lewis's pleased when Alphonse outgrew the sink and had to be moved to the bathtub. "This shower is too crowded," complained Louis's father. "This bathroom is a mess," moaned Louis's mother. At least Louis's classmates enjoyed Alphonse, who was still making weekly visits. "Wow, show and tell is more fun than recess," they yelled. But one day, Miss Shelbert decided that Alphonse was not turning into an ordinary frog. She asked Louis to stop bringing him to school. Why do you think his teacher, Miss Shelbert, might have asked him to stop bringing Alphonse? Do you think maybe having this size of a pet in your classroom might be a bit of a distraction, right? Look how big he is here, sticking his head out the window. Look at that. By the time summer vacation arrived, Alphonse had outgrown the bathtub. "We could buy the parking lot next door and build him a swimming pool," suggested Louis. "Be sensible," declared Louis's parents. Do you remember what sensible means? That vocabulary word, right? It means you use your common sense. "Swimming pools are expensive. We're sorry, Louis, but this situation has become impossible. Tomorrow you will have to take your tadpole to the zoo." "But I can't put my friend in a cage," cried Louis. I think we're figuring out what the problem is. So let's stop and think for a second. What is the problem that they are having in this story? What is Louis's problem? Were you thinking maybe something like Alphonse is getting too big, right? First, he was outgrowing his little jar that he was in. He outgrew the kitchen sink. He outgrew the bathtub. And now they have no more room for him. So I'm going to record that here with our problem, right? Alphonse, make sure it's got a capital on his name, is growing too big, right? That is their problem in the story. Okay, let's continue. Next page, 360, where they're at a swimming pool, it looks like. I wonder where they took him. That night, Louis was very sad until he remembered that the gym in the nearby high school had a swimming pool. Louis hid Alphonse under a carpet and smuggled him inside. "Nobody uses this place during the summer," whispered Louis. "You'll be safe here." After making sure that Alphonse felt at home, Louis said goodbye. "I'll be back tomorrow with a big pile of cheeseburgers." Let's look at the next page and make a prediction. What do you think is happening here? I see Alphonse. Do you see other things in the swimming pool? Maybe there's some people coming to use it. You might be kind of shocked when they find a giant tadpole in it. Louis came every afternoon to play with Alphonse. In the morning, he earned the money for the cheeseburgers by delivering newspapers. The trading continued as well. Louis would say, "Alphonse, retrieve." Oh, my prediction was wrong. There's no one in the pool. They're just practicing, right? And Alphonse would succeed every time. As summer vacation passed, Louis became more and more worried about what would happen to Alphonse when the high school kids returned. After his first day of classes, Louis ran to the high school and found the gym bustling with activity. Uh-oh. The swim team was heading for the pool. "Stop!" cried Louis. "On your mark," bellowed the coach. "Get set." "Excuse me, sir," said Louis. "Go!" roared the coach. How do you think these kids are going to feel when they jump in the water? Are they going to feel surprised? Shocked? Alphonse rose to the surface to welcome the swimmers. "It's a submarine from another planet," shrieked the coach. "Call the police! Call the Navy!" "No, it's only a tadpole," said Louis. "He's my pet." The coach was upset and confused. "You have until tomorrow," he cried, "to get that creature out of the pool." Where's Louis going to put him? He doesn't have any more space for him. We still have that same problem. He's growing too big and he has nowhere to go. Next page. Louis telephoned his friend, Miss Severs, the librarian, and asked for her help. "I'll be right there," she cried. Miss Severs rushed to meet Louis at the high school. When she saw Alphonse, she was so startled that she dropped her purse into the water. "Retrieve," said Louis, and Alphonse did. "Where did this astounding animal come from?" cried Miss Severs. "He was a birthday gift from my uncle," Louis replied. Look at Alphonse got. You see the purse that she dropped in the water, and he went and retrieved it. Miss Severs telephoned Uncle McAllister. "Oh, the wee tadpole," he said. "Why, he came from the lake nearby. It's the one folks call Loch Ness." "Brace yourself, Louis," Miss Severs said. "I believe your uncle found the Loch Ness monster." "I don't care," cried Louis. "Alphonse is my friend and I love him." He pleaded with Miss Severs to help him raise enough money to buy the parking lot so he could build a big swimming pool for Alphonse. Who does Miss Severs think that Alphonse is? Right? The Loch Ness monster, which is a legend. Right? That's what she thinks he is. How do you think they're going to get money? He wants to be able to build him a pool, but that costs money. How do you think that they're going to get that? Got an idea? Suddenly, Miss Severs had an idea. "Long ago, a pirate ship sank in the harbor," she said. "No one has ever been able to find it, or its treasure chest. But perhaps we can." Who's going to retrieve the treasure? Our friend Alphonse. The next morning, they drove to the harbor and rented a boat. "This is a treasure chest," cried Louis. "Retrieve." Alphonse disappeared under the water and returned with the chest. It was filled with gold and jewels. "Let's buy the parking lot and get to work," cried Miss Severs. So they found enough money. Look at that, they're starting the construction. Louis's parents were shocked to see a construction crew in the parking lot. "Louis," they cried, "what in the world's going on here?" "Alphonse found a private treasure ship," explained Louis, "and we used part of our gold to buy you this present." He's got a little envelope for his mom and dad. Louis's parents were shocked once again. "Tickets for a vacation cruise to Hawaii?" they gasped. "And," said Louis, "you don't have to worry about us because Granny has agreed to babysit." They hugged Louis. They kissed Alphonse. "How soon can we leave?" they cried. "Immediately," said Louis. So they bought his parents a vacation. Why do you think they did that? What's Louis and Alphonse going to do while his parents are gone? Is he going to build something? By the time Louis's parents returned, the swimming pool was being enjoyed by everyone in the city. A week later, Louis said, "Alphonse, tomorrow is my birthday, which means that you've been my best friend for a whole year." The next day, Uncle McAllister arrived for the party. "Greetings, Louis, my lad," he exclaimed. "I've come with a curious stone from the hills of Scotland." "Happy birthday!" "Wow, thanks," said Louis. Suddenly, the stone began to tremble and crack. Was it an actual stone that he gave him? Looks like it was an egg, doesn't it? So let's kind of think back to our problem and solution so we can finish this, right? I'm going to add a little something to this, right? Alphonse is growing too big, but why is that a problem? Do you remember? Because he has nowhere to live, right? Alphonse is growing too big and has nowhere to live. That added a little more detail to our problem. So if this is our problem, Alphonse is growing too big and has nowhere to live, what is the solution? How did Louis, with some help from Miss Severs, how did they solve that problem? What did they do? I think they kind of did two things, right? What did they find first? The treasure, right? Alphonse retrieved a treasure, and then what did they do? He retrieved the treasure, and what did they use the treasure for? To build a pool. Alphonse retrieved a treasure, and they built a pool. Perfect. All right, now it'll be your reread the story, The Mysterious Tadpole, to yourself or with someone in your family. Okay, and then there are 2 activities for you to complete on our classroom. One of them is a story map, so you're going to have to, this will be part of it, the problem and solution, but then there will be some other parts. Feel free to use your book. Talk about the setting, so where are they for most of the story? Characters, who are the main characters? Then you'll have a problem and solution, and then a part where you have to fill in some blanks of what happened in the story. After you complete that, you have a little comprehension quiz, another one of those 10-question quizzes on our Google Classroom. And if you'd like to, feel free to take an AR quiz on it. It's good practice for you. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.